What's up, everyone? So we're back out in the shop, going to pick away at Sean's truck here. So I'll show you where we're at. Last time we were out here, we had sorted out our front and rear chassis harness and wrapped it with some Tessa tape. So got the runs wrapped up, got the holes in the cab floor just below the column drilled. I'll show you that in a bit. And what we got to do is put our grommets on where the harnesses go through the floor. So they're just actually some old Volvo grommets that I got when we used to install different accessories at Volvo. You'd end up with some spare plugs or grommets, that type of thing. So I always kept all that, and that's just the perfect size for running those harnesses in. Now, if I can only find where the fuck I put the second one. I had them here, now I only have one. I don't know, probably spent most of the day looking for that. So I'll show you what we got. Alrighty, so here's our grommet. Right, so that's going to go through the floor where just below the column drilled two holes, one for the front harness, one for the rear. That panel for the fuse block is just sitting there roughly to hold it in place. Ah, there it is, look at that. See right there? I used the grommet just to hold that bracket in place. Found it. Anyway, we're going to get the grommets installed onto the front and rear chassis runs, and then we'll start routing those on the inside of the frame rail. Front one's going to go on the inside of the frame, and then down here to start wiring the lights and the fan, everything else. And same with the rear. So let's get to it. Here's our grommet. So this is going to be the flange that kind of seals to the hole in the floor I cut. So I cut it to the same diameter. So this will be the inside portion, meaning this part is going to stick down below the cab floor and the harness needs to go through here. So this is just a generic plug. So it was originally designed, so there's a little, I don't know, slight groove in there. So I think you just slice the end off and you put the harness through there. But I think I'd like to try to keep as much of this collar here as I can. So I'm just going to drill a hole or cut a hole in the end, and then I'm going to have to feed it through the harness just manually, starting at the end of the harness and then working my way all the way down, all the way through. And then that way, when I have that through, then I can actually use that collar to tape to the harness to seal it and hold it in place at the firewall. We'll see how that works. So my first thought to make this happen is just the unibit and the drill. See how that works. Might grab and spin, I don't know. Not bad. There we go. Should be able to pull a harness through that nice and neat. Okay, so I have the grommet kind of poked through a little bit from the other side, but I have to bring this flange up. So you can use a combination of screwdrivers or seal picks, or I don't know. There's probably a trick to it. There we go. Look at that. Then we can fine tune the position, and once we're happy with the position routing, then we can tape it on the other side. Well, we're good. And when we're done, these harnesses will be rooted up, and that'll be covered with the carpet on the floor of the cab. Should work good. Clickety click, barb a trick. Alrighty, so I have run the harness about as far as I can. I have the old harness that was into the frame, and I'm just going to tape the new one to the old one so that I can give myself a fish line or a leader or whatever the hell you want to call it. And basically I'm just going to use the old harness to pull the new harness through the notch so that I can get it to the back where I need it. I'll just tape it in a few spots so I can pull it through. There we go. Let's see if it'll work for us. Try and get this untangled as much as I can. Oh, look at that. Look at that. Oh, we're stuck. Okay, I gotta go underneath and unstuck the big part. So I have the harness through the notch, but there's also some air lines and some fuel lines and some other stuff that goes through the notch. And it's all kind of in behind the C channel, behind this tank. So I think what I'll do, so I have better access, so I can get in there to the wiring and I'm not just pulling on it, I'm going to drop the tank real quick. Alrighty, well, I managed to kind of get that harness through just by wiggling back and forth kind of through the notch and moving some lines and just sticking with it that way. So it was a little easier than pulling the tank. So I'll leave this back here for now. I still got to drill a hole in the front cross member to get the harness under the rad shroud so I can pop it up to do the front headlight and horn and fan wiring and all that. So let's go take care of that. Okay, so here's our front harness. It's run through the C channel of the frame, over the cross member. Now we're at this front cross member here. We got to get through it so we can go up. Here's our rad shroud. There's not enough space. I don't know if you can see my fingers. So there's not enough space to squeeze it through. So we're just going to drill a hole through the cross member, run a grommet, and then we can go right to our rad support. Well, let's make it happen.